What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So excited to be with y'all. I am here with the Miss Jalynn Jones. If y'all have not met her before, this young lady, entrepreneur, boss, is a powerhouse, wise beyond her years. And I'm super excited to bring her here so y'all can chat with her and learn a little bit more about her community, but how she gives herself the freedom to build. Before we jump into that, let me introduce myself. If you're brand spanking new to my videos, brand spanking new to my page, let me introduce myself. My name is Chanel. Coaches and experts hire me when they want to dominate on social media. And I do that with cash generating content strategies. 6 months of content in less than 6 days. So let me tell you also about the power of social media before I let Jalynn introduce herself. So Jalynn and I met on Clubhouse probably 2 years or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I was immediately drawn to Jalynn. Jalynn can hold her own. I didn't even realize, at the time how young she was. But she can like hold her own in conversations. And little known fact, my oldest daughter name is Jalynn. So when I would hear Jalynn speak on Clubhouse, I'm like, who is this girl with this powerful voice? They got my daughter's name. I got to get to know her. So, Jalynn, introduce yourself. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Chanel. And I'm so glad that I'm on Clubhouse. Clubhouse has changed my life and has allowed me to connect with women like you. Thank you so much for inviting me on your platform and to just converse over freedom to build. I am Vision to Profit Coach Jalynn. I'm also a fractional CEO to women who own firms and agencies and online business, and they desire to uplevel their sales and business mastery with the power of selling their program or hosting a profitable event. So that's who I am. That's what I do. I'm also the founder of Black Pretty and Paid University, which is a social club.
Awesome. So let's jump into it. So you're a fractional CEO, you're a community builder, you host events, and I know somebody is probably watching and they're like, okay, how is she doing all of this? So you are wise beyond your years. I've told you that before. Where does that, just leadership come from? Being able to just really show up in spaces and be a boss around people that are probably older than you or may even have more experience than you do.
Thank you for the compliment. Wise beyond my years is something I'm typically told by people that are older than me and kind of reflect on where they were at my age. And they're like, wow, like what? When I was your age, I was doing X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But I consider myself, it's kind of like the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe it takes a village to raise a millionaire too. So I have spent my entire life being nurtured and mentored by a village of people. And so the wise beyond my years just comes from sitting under the tutelage of so many women from different backgrounds, and just carrying those relationships and that effect of mentorship to who I am as an entrepreneur. I'm an expert student, in my opinion. And that's what makes me come off as so prepared and being able to hold my own. But it's really, I study. Like even before this podcast, I was studying. I'm studying all day. I constantly find myself in love with the process, and that helps me show up with confidence. And last but not least, I was told by one of my mentors that you have the power to reinvent yourself. And that alone, that just statement has just allowed me to shift and shift and shift over and over and over again. They're doing the yard, so hopefully you can't hear that.
No, it's all good.
Perfect. But that has allowed me to shift over and over again, just learning that I can reinvent myself.
I love that. And not just that we have the power to reinvent ourselves, but we have the freedom to do it. Like give ourselves permission to do that. So you said a couple of really important things that I want to touch on. When you talked about, just leadership and learning, one of the things that I noticed that you do, very well when you build your community is you bring in experts, you bring in, group leaders, you bring in what you call matriarchs. So what's the role of those, and how does somebody even just build a community and just leverage those types of people?
Yeah, so I do want to say that, like many people who desire to have a business and they feel like they want to have freedom, they start a Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And they start a Facebook group because they're like, oh, this is a way for me to build community,
Mm-hmm.
and I can hold everybody in this community. I can sell to them in this community. And that's not the primary reason you should start anything that brings people together.
Right.
And so, like I said, it takes a village to raise a millionaire. If that's the same for if that's the case for me, that's the same for my community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 29. I have clients that are anywhere between the ages of 19 years old to over 70 years old.
Mm.
No matter how wise I am, no matter how much I've mentored or been mentored, no matter how much I coach or how many businesses I've helped build, how
Mm-hmm.
many careers I've had, it will never replace the fact that I am 29 years old.
Right.
29 years of life. And even to extend beyond that, I've only seen so much of my industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've had to get these matriarchs, people who have preceded me, to be in the space so we're not the blind leading the blind.
Right. I know that's right.
That's all it is about. I release myself. I am free to operate in my zone of genius.
Mm-hmm.
You're a social media strategist, not
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I not bring someone in that has experience and they preceded me? I think one time when we first met, we're like, we need to do an old school versus new school, because
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that I know that the new school thinks doesn't work. So that's the reason why I
Mm-hmm.
decided on having very specific people in my space who I trust with my tribe. And you are one of those people.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm honored to, just really pour into the community. I know one of the things that you really focus on, and we're going to talk about like your Black, Pretty, and Paid community. But one of the things that I love that you focus on is like helping, primarily Black female founders and business owners get to that first 5K. And so I love being able to pour into that mission, because I know what it feels like to, have this dream, have this vision, but you don't just know how to get there. And so I'm honored to be able to be a group member and also an expert and help you with your mission. So let's talk about Black, Pretty, and Paid. Why that? What did that come from? Why that? And why is it so important to you?
Yeah, so I come from a legacy of sales, is what I like to say. My mother has been in sales for over 20 years. My brother is in sales. I'm in sales. I come from a family of educators and ministers and
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs. And sales is just one of those things that you have to have. Right when the pandemic hit, I heard this thing that you should get a home-based business. That's what's gonna change everything if you have a home-based. I was already
Mm-hmm.
making six figures in my career. I was
Mm-hmm.
already doing pretty well, especially for my age,
Mm-hmm.
as the folks like to say. Um, but I
As the
think
old folks like to say, that's what you're trying to say.
as the old folks like to say, but this idea of having a home-based business sparked my curiosity because of the passive income that I heard about. And I joined a company that wasn't an MLM, but it was a direct sales company. You directly sold a product. But when I joined, there was an investment to join. They wanted you to think of it like your own business.
Mm.
And they also wanted you to sell the product. And
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of women in this community, and they had all these trainings every week and all this stuff. But I noticed that the women still they were getting into something because they felt like they needed a home-based business amid the pandemic, but they didn't know how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. 90% of the women in the community did not know how to sell. It was the same
Mm-hmm.
women on the leaderboard every single month.
Mm-hmm.
And even the leaderboard could be skewed because the sales weren't as high as they could be,
Right.
right? And so that's how I started Black, Pretty, and Paid, because I was told to treat it like my own business.
Mm-hmm.
So I created my own business out of this direct selling company after being a career coach and resume writer for several years. And the whole intent and purpose of Black, Pretty, and Paid was to teach Black women how to serve and how to sell. We
Love
know
it.
how to serve.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to help people. But
Right.
when it comes to selling, there is a roadblock, it's a mental block, it's a financial block. And so that 5K is so important, Chanel. And I've gotten a lot of flack from the millionaire, gazillionaire coaches, but the truth is, $5,000 is a belief key.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get a $5,000 sale, or you have a $5,000 day, or a $5,000 week, or a $5,000 month after you have not done that for yourself and your own business,
Mm-hmm.
it is all you need to multiply your ability to sell more.
I love it.
That's the reason why we started Black, Pretty, and Paid.
I love it. So one of the things that you touched on that I want to highlight is the mindset. And so what, even just give me just one tip that you share with your community. Like what's one tip that they can get over that hurdle of I can't do this because, that mindset to get them to that, that first milestone.
I was actually just watching the podcast this morning on that. And it was about how we speak over ourselves in such a damning way that just blocks everything. So the first thing is how we identify with ourselves speaks into our future.
Mm-hmm.
So in my community, I don't call it mindset. I call it identity. Because I
Mm-hmm.
believe you become what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So it directly affects how you show up, how you think of yourself, and even how you sell. So the first thing I would say is like really check the way you are identifying with yourself as someone that has a service or a product that is valuable and that needs to be sold. Like that's the number one thing,
Right.
So that's my one tip is identity. Like
I love it.
really check your identity.
I love it. I love it. And like I mentioned to y'all, Jalynn is wise beyond her years. But she also has, an amazing philosophy around how she builds community. And Jalynn is actually going to be speaking next week during the Freedom is the New Flex virtual summit. It kicks off on June 15th. If you have not already RSVP, what are you waiting for? Head to the link that I've had in the captions, freedomisaflex.com. Jalynn's going to be there. I'm going to be there, but we also have an all-star panel of, when I tell you it's $1 billion in the room, millions and billion-dollar ideas are in that space, and you want to be in the room. Proximity is your key. And so head to freedomisaflex.com. Jalynn's going to be speaking about and continue to speak about like community building and how to actually leverage your community and to leverage your skills and the people around you to really build that piece. So Jalynn, one last thing that I want to ask you, I know that you, but it started with Black, Pretty, and Pay, or really it started with your sales experience that led to Black, Pretty, and Pay. And then you turned it into just as HBCU inspired extravaganza, but it's still community. So tell me a little bit about like how that and where that got inspired from.
So fun fact, I am an HBCU graduate. I am a woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And if it were not for an HBCU, which was my community, I would not be on this live right now.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because there's something about going to a school that cultivates your identity and really raises you up in leadership that changes everything. Love it. When I started Black, Pretty, and Paid, a remnant and residue from my HBCU experience was sprinkled all over my company. So I knew I wanted to have an experience every year, and it was already called Black, Pretty, and Paid University. And we have this heart very similar to an HBCU. So I said, I think the event should be very similar to how we do at universities. We have a coming together. We have a homecoming. It's a celebration. It's a time to come together. So I wanted to disrupt conference culture. That culture of going into a cold hotel, right?
And bland chicken and the dry green beans.
Because you have experiences that are so high level. So you understand there's nothing like going to this event where you got this cold chicken, you got this cold hotel, and you're like barely getting what you need because it's like a sample of the information. And so the homecoming experience is just a fun, edifying way to celebrate Black entrepreneurship, but also to shift Black educators and brilliant expert level entrepreneurs to actually sell their programs, sell their events, sell their services in a very crowded marketplace by becoming the authority at what they do and understanding that power. So I'm so excited about the Black Entrepreneur Homecoming Experience and the Freedom Flex Summit.
Awesome. So yeah, so make sure y'all tap in with Jalynn. Jalynn is what she considers. What did you give me your title? Your vision to profit coach. But more importantly, she helps Black women get to that first key milestone. And that is one, believing in their identity, that they are business people, that they're business bosses, but being able to really identify that they have the freedom to build a business, build a community. And Jalynn has done it, just being able to just one, stand unapologetically as yourself, which I love, but then also being able to bring in a community of matriarchs, bring in a community of experts around you. And like you said, one of the things that I love that you talked on is that you give yourself permission to do that. Sometimes we feel like we got to be the smartest person in the room, but you give yourself permission to say, hey, this is my lane and this is where my experts are great at, and then being able to pull them along. So Jalynn, where can people find out a little bit more about the homecoming experience? Because I know that's heavy coming up. So where can people find you? Where can people find out a little bit more about the wait list for the experience?
Absolutely. Today is actually the last day for the wait list. If you are watching us on Facebook right now, you can literally head over to my page. It's right there in my bio. It's the pin post at the top. If you go to my Instagram, it's the pin post at the top. I'm Dare to Be a Black Millionaire on Instagram. That's Dare to Be a BLK Millionaire. I'm Coach Jalynn everywhere else. LinkedIn, Facebook, Clubhouse, YouTube, everywhere, and also JalynAJones.com.
Awesome.
So thank you all so much for listening. I'm so excited about your summit and just diving deeper into the importance of community, because you cannot have a business in 2022 without community. It's super, 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 super important. And I definitely want to tell people how to take their community to conference, to summits, to events, so they can have the freedom that they desire.
Absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why I developed and designed this summit, to be able to have some real conversation. The speakers that are going to be, here, a wealth of information, but they come from various backgrounds. And we're going to be chatting about, from a mindset standpoint, from a community building standpoint, from a tools and strategy standpoint, because sometimes you have the mindset, but you just need okay, I know what to do. I don't know how to do it. And so we're giving you some tools, some strategy. It all goes down on June 15th, next Wednesday. So you got a little under a week. Head to freedomisaflex.com. When I give you that, when you head on that speaker page and y'all see the speakers that are going to be in the house, woo, yes, it's going to be an amazing time. So super excited. And Jalynn, thanks for being here. Thanks for chiming in. And I look forward to, one, the BHO experience, and two, seeing y'all next week and seeing Jalynn next week at the Freedom is a New Flex virtual summit. So cannot wait to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invite.
All right. Talk to you soon.